Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a full-length video today, starting with my plan for the future. These are what I plan to eventually get passed in the United States House and Senate to hopefully fix this nation, because the world's on fire. And I gotta start in America because that's where I was born. But the world will come. So as you can see right here, the first step is to just make all healthcare free, because that's what needs to be done. Because it's something that's so simple in life. It's like water. It should be free, just like water should be. But that's just step one, because there's a lot to unpack with just this. Because first off, how are we going to pay for it? But that's in here too. Let me keep going. So the second is that there's going to be no taxes, no income taxes. It's all going to be sales tax, and it excludes the aftermarket. So you no longer have to pay stupid taxes when you go to register your car when you buy it aftermarket. Thank goodness. Right here we have the profit gouging bill, which is helpful for for prices and stuff, because now drug companies can't charge $1,000 for a pill it costs them $7 to make. Like, if it costs $1 to make, or you have to buy it for $1, you can only double your money. It costs $2. That's what you will be allowed to charge. Is it gonna throw a curveball at the stock market? Yes, but after 3 or 4 years it will recover, because as I kind of continue, there's going to be plenty of money for everybody. This one, it took me a while to figure out the details specifically, but basically all businesses from the smallest to the biggest are going to completely and utterly share their profit, a third of it. And if Walmart did this today at their $560 or $600 now billion dollars, each employee that's been there longer than a year, that's what's stipulated in here, will have a right to a share of a third of the profits, which were granted into a T-bill for the smaller businesses, because the smaller businesses need more cash inflow because they're small, and the bigger ones don't. You can tell by the percentages of the interest rates on the T-bill. So once we do that, everyone that's worked at the company longer than a year will receive a bonus of an equal share of a third of the company's profits. And the bigger the company, hopefully the more money, because it'd be about $170,000 a year if you worked at Walmart. Now this is how the government's going to pay for everything. This is the loan from the stars. We are going to, I haven't really decided on the amount yet, because that's honestly 100 sextrillion or 100 quintillion dollars. It honestly may not be enough. We may have to do 10,000 quadrillions or a lot. But how we're going to fund it is we are going to basically mine the asteroid belt once we develop technology to the point where we can do interspace travel, because it's the future. That's what is going to happen, and we'll have about 500 to 300 years. I still haven't decided on that either, but I gave a good rough estimate of about 300 years to completely play this loan back from the stars, because infinity is out there, and that's what's going to ultimately save us, is infinity, the universe itself. The next thing is we're going to construct moon farms that will be in orbit around the moon. They will not be on the moon, because surface area can't be expanded on the surface of the moon. But you can build as many disks and how big you want and throw them in orbit, and if they're 100 miles in diameter and they're going in the same direction, the centrifugal force will allow them to have artificial gravity, and basically they'll be just floating around the moon. And that is going to be what is going to be the overproduction of food, to where finally we will produce about double what we need to feed everybody. So if you need 2,000 calories a day to live properly, we are going to produce 4,000 calories a day, and we will waste more food than we make, but at least everybody will finally have a full belly. Also, I haven't written it down yet, but I want to make the simple things like apples and oranges. Like, if you can pluck it off the tree, or you can pick it off the stalk of the plant and just eat it raw, it'll be provided for free in the whole United States to start. And then eventually it'll take over the world, because once you feed people, they will follow you. But anyway, next we're going to terraform Mars. Terraforming Mars is actually a really simple endeavor. All we have to do is put 2 orbiting satellites around Mars, basically creating 2 moons. with molten cores that produce electromagnetic fields. So when we bring our iron, I mean not our iron, our coal and our petroleum, our oil, there and burn it and create oxygen and water, because that's what happens when you have a combustion reaction, then the solar winds will not blow away the atmosphere that we are creating, and we'll actually use global warming to get us a new planet. It's kind of hilarious, actually. But yeah, it's going to cost a lot, so that's what the Star-Lorn's for, because everything I'm doing is going to take a lot of convincing. But this is how it starts. The next thing is we're going to rebuild America. I have been all over this country, from New Mexico to Portland to Wyoming. I haven't really visited the East Coast, but everything, all our roads, our public buildings, everything needs to be taken care of. And it needs, if it's over 5 years old, I want to just replace it. Just make it new, make it brand new, make it stick, make it hard, make it last. Eisenhower, he built the interstate system, and that's what's keeping us going, but it's crumbling, ladies and gentlemen. We need to rebuild this place. America is awesome, and we need to make our stuff new. Next is the right to experiment. This is for my liberal fellows, because all our drugs have limits and systematic freaking things that are stupid. Like, you should be able to walk into the pharmacy like it's a liquor store and be like, I want to do Xanax, this, that, the other. And he tells you, well, if you miss Xanax, this, that, the other, you'll die, so do Xanax, this, and then you won't die and you'll get a hell of a buzz, and there you go. But there is going to be a sin tax on it, and the 21% sales tax will be added a 4% sin tax to it, because technically it is not good for you to do it. But I mean, we need to get over this stupidity that people can be controlled and people won't do what they're going to do, because obviously the meth addicts are still meth addicts, and obviously the people doing these things are still just going to do them. So just give them the right to experiment, be done with it, and cut it off at the source. I am frankly tired of sending people to jail for 3 or 4 grams of marijuana in certain states because it's illegal. It is stupid, it is dumb. Whoever decided to make marijuana and all the other drugs, schedule all this, the others, just wanted to fill the prisons up and just wanted to make a bunch of money on the back end, and I will not stand for it anymore. I'm putting my foot down and saying, this is what I want to do, and this is why we're going to do it. Next, the great nation state creation. All the Native American states their sovereign nations will be now combined into one conglomerate nation, and they will be considered a great nation state, for they are all over the nation, and they will be granted representation in the House and the Senate by the constitutional powers they are granted as a state in one unified form, and they will finally get the retribution that they've had denied for them for hundreds of years, and they will have a voice, and they will be allowed to speak freely in the Congress as a senator or as a representative. And the fact that we created another state means that the Native Americans get a handful of electoral votes, at least 3. But I did the math, and there'll be about 9 million to 10 million Native Americans throughout the country, and that equals about a 7 or 8 vote in the Electoral College. And that is going to change the way we think about politics forever. And it's just what needs to be done to stop this crap that's been happening. We need to stop judging people by the color of their skin and start helping them with the content of their character. Martin Luther King was right, my friends. We need to be better to each other. Will we do it? Probably not, because there'll never be any peace on this earth. But we can at least try. Next is I want to make community college free. If we can make high school through kindergarten free, why can't we just make community college free? This is the one thing I actually agreed with President Obama on. And did he ever do anything with it? No, he tried to, but it never was able to actually go through for some reason, because frankly, I didn't think the man had a convincing enough power to make the Republicans fall to his side. Bill Clinton, when he was in office in the 90s, he came out and he actually walked to the other side of the aisle and he tried to make things happen. That's why things under Bill Clinton actually weren't so bad. Like, he for all of my sake, was not a bad president. He just couldn't keep his member in his package. Like, come on, dude. Anyway, doctors and teachers bill. I want to add lawyers to this as well, but this is that they are completely government employees and they will receive an equal bonus, the average bonus. So like if you get $200,000 from Walmart and you only made $17,000 from the small business, then whatever the middle is, we will pull that from the Star Loan, and the doctors and the teachers and all the people working for the government will also get that equal bonus, because the government is technically not a business, but we have the right to debt, so there you go. and we are going to just make them millionaires, because all of our teachers, from our lowliest kindergarten teacher to our highest Professor Stephen Hawking even, deserve to be millionaires. They deserve for their hard work and their patience with all of these naughty little brats, sometimes anyway, that they deserve it. And I had a teacher who was level 3, Miss Lovelace. She was a wonderful woman. Level 3 teacher making $55,000 a year. And according to the IRS, the state of poverty is like $56,000 a year. So like, she was under the poverty line as a level 3 teacher who worked for like 25, 30 years. I will not let this stand anymore. We are screwing our little people over, and that's my plan for it. We're just going to make them millionaires. This one is a little more complicated to explain, because the coalition election system is basically a, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Amalgamation? No, it's not an amalgamation. It's about 4 or 5 different, it's a convert, it's a, I don't know, a council, if you will, of a bunch of other things that I combined into one. So the Electoral College is brilliant. It really is. It allows for the fundamental nature of elections to be construed, because if you actually study history, most elections come out 48 to 47 to 5% between other parties. That means the 48, if you have a popular vote system, will win all the time, and the 47 will never win, and the system will crumble. But the Electoral College allows for the minority to overrule the majority, and because you won specific states, you now have 300 electoral votes, and that's how it is. That's why the Founding Fathers were absolutely geniuses. They found a way for the minority to win every now and then, and that's great. The problem is, what they didn't understand was that 12 states, if California, Texas, New York, Florida, all the big ones, all the way down, I think, it's been a while since I've actually looked at the electoral vote count, but there you go. You only need to win 12 of them, and you can control the whole union. Now, will California ever believe in what Texas is? I don't know. But with the rate the Democrats are expanding, maybe. But the Republicans are the one making babies, so there you go. But we're going to have a coalition system where each state will get a nominee, and each coalition, which there are 5 of because we have 50 states, will have a nominee from them. So instead of having just 2 choices, you will have 5. And that's what makes mine a little bit better. Also, because of the way it's structured, you have to win 24 states, because the highest coalition, the highest state in your coalition will have 10 votes. And that's the biggest population. And the whole coalition after that, after the second place, will have 7. So in order to win the whole Electoral College, you need to win at least 24 states, which frankly is more than most have ever won. And if you do it the small way, if you just win the 7s, the 7s, and the 7s, you have to win 26. So like, there are ways to make it harder to win, but also make it fairer to when you actually have to win a whole country. And those who obtain the most electoral votes, they will go to a runoff. The top 2 will go to a runoff a week later, since there's 5 options, if it splits. If there's ties and things obvious in that, we will work out the details as a Congress and a body. But this is the initial step that we need to do to completely revolutionize the Electoral College, because it is brilliant. It just needs a couple more things, and then it's almost perfect, because nothing in this world's perfect. This one, 10 million each, is a bust. Because I understand pumping money into the economy is great, but inflation's a thing that we need to think about, and the overall money pool of the world needs to be controlled, because that's what's going to make people still have demand, still have supply, because the government controls how much money is actually on the streets. Even though we have quadrillions and quintillions of dollars, we cannot just give you a bunch, but we will force the businesses to share their profits with you, because remember, how did Scrooge McDuck become rich? He became rich through circulation, and circulation is how we are going to make the rich people finally start paying their way, and to make everybody finally start paying attention to the little guy, because your power of the dollar, remember what Sam Walton said, the customer can fire everybody, all the way to the top. All he has to do is go shop somewhere else. Granted, there's billions of us, but he still had a point. Next. This one is the Nichols Round Robin. I've thought about it a bunch, but I say 8 years as president, 18 years as a representative, and 18 years as a senator. If you can't do something in almost 20 years, then you need to get out of whatever you're doing. And if you do it all, you're the president, you're a representative, and you're a senator, well, that's 44 years, and that's the Nichols Round Robin. That's as long as you can serve your government for. No more 80-year-olds in our Congress, in our Oh, goodness gracious, what is it? Our presidency. But anyway, that's what it is. I mean, if you're 80 and you've never run before and you're still strong enough, go for it. But you're not going to spend your entire life in one position for the rest of your life. This needs to stop, and this is how I've done it. And I gave you 20 years in both houses, and you still did nothing. So, sorry, dude. This one is just, remember, FDR, attack fear. We only have fear to fear itself. FDR, remember him. Next is our Education Overhaul Act. It's very technical, and I don't feel like getting into it because it involves tests and other things like that. They won't be standardized and they won't be anything. They'll be tracking tests. So, like, we'll give you questions from kindergarten grades, first grade, second grade, and see how much you retained throughout the whole thing. Because it's not how much you learn, it's how much you retain. And that's what we really need to focus on. And there are greater details in here about that. If you want to pause the video and try to read my garbage handwriting, go right ahead. But yeah. We're gonna track how much you retain throughout the years and see if other things start popping in, because as you get older, all your skills develop, and things when you were a kid that you didn't remember, maybe they start making sense when you're an adult. So, like, we will track your progress and see how wide your spectrum of knowledge is based on what you remember. This one is the Non-Citizens Act. It is a complete overhaul of the immigration system. You can walk into the United States, give us your feet prints, your fingerprints, and your palm prints, hair for DNA, and then you are made a non-citizen who does not have the right to vote, but you can stay, and you'll be granted a passport-like ID, like a green card. And it doesn't matter where you've been from, doesn't matter your crimes, doesn't matter. You'll get a free, fresh start. But as soon as you start committing crimes in the United States, all of our laws will start to apply because you have signed your rights away as a citizen, but you are here visiting and stated that you are not going to leave, you are going to live here, and that is going to solve the Democrats pumping the full-on immigration nation into the Electoral College, trying to override it, even though it's only hurting them, really, because true Americans love this country, and true Americans love that we fight, and we'll put a boot in your ass, just like Toby Keith said, and this is what we're going to do to fix it. We're just going to let them come. And as soon as you rape, as soon as you murder, I say you should be killed. But I'm not going to dictate my own personal will. Everything I want to do is make things better. And yes, if certain things happen, it'll make me happy. But ultimately, I'm going to try to do good for the overarching nature of the whole nation. Because that's what's going to fix this. That's what's going to make it better. Next, this one's also a bust, the Gold Finite Act. I thought about like FDR and trying to make gold like rare because we're going to pay with it from the stars, and it fell apart. Nothing came about it. This one is the Floodwater Act. I like this one most because it really pertains to my Native American heritage, really using the land for what it is. But when we have these massive storms down in Texas or down in anywhere else that hurricanes can go, we are going to send trucks and other things down in emergency services fashion, and we are going to collect as much rainwater as we possibly can, because the hurricanes dump trillions and trillions of gallons of water on us, and there's only 300 million Americans. Freaking 300 million gallons of water is enough to water the whole nation for the people in one day. Not necessarily the fields and crops, but you're catching my drift. If we can collect even 4 trillion gallons or 5 trillion and store it in deserts and stuff like that, everybody can have clean drinking water all the time. The solution's staring us in the face, and we just haven't been bold enough to go out in the weather and start collecting the rain, and it stopped flooding. So that's why it's called the Floodwater Act. The next is transportation bill. I haven't really thought about anything like that except, fix all the roads and stuff, but I'll get back to it. I had some thoughts on it, but I'm not going to share them because they're like discrepancies and other assumed things that I really haven't looked into. So that one's just blank for now. It doesn't have a number if you've been paying attention. This one doesn't either because I don't know. I have to really talk about the Congress of this one, but if you abuse the business, actually I don't even remember. This one may be a bust too. I don't know. We'll see. But the Emergency Food Act for everybody else. This is, we're going to start producing on our deserts, because we have hundreds and hundreds of miles of desert. And if you take 1 mile of desert, square mile, build 10 layers on top of it, 10 feet across, you turn 1 mile into 10. And that 10 miles of land can grow anything, corn, beans, whatever the hell you want, because you can make it an artificial environment with lights. So there you go. And we'll have the money from the moon, from the Star Loan to completely pay for all of this. So you will be getting paid even though you think it's wrong because it's all fake money. But guess what? All money is just made up anyway. Oh, you see this rock? I like it better than that rock, so it's worth more. That's literally what money is. So yeah, this one I haven't really thought too hard about. It help inflation, but it was basically just control the flow of money in the world. Make sure it doesn't get too out of hand to where somebody has $100 quintillion in their bank account. But if that happens, though, congrats, you're the first quintrillionaire in the whole world. This one is my rent reduction act. We are basically just going to subsidize everybody's rent. And if your house is worth, according to the government, $2,400 a month, then you will be charged $1,200 and the government will pay the other $1,200 for you. We are trying to completely make this world better for you to where you can live the best life you can, because as soon as you're free to spend your money, the world will get better because circulation is what causes everything to go around. And as long as everything keeps circulating, the system should never crash, because that's just the faith of humanity. I give you $1, you give me this. And then this is just why I'm going to run as a Democratic Liberal Conservative. I'm going to strictly run under the Democratic guidelines, but when it comes to Medicaid or Medicare and education, the Dems are right. We need to learn everything and teach everything and do everything. When it comes to life and drugs, however, the liberals are right. Because we need freedom of life. We need to be able to do whatever we want. And when it comes to drugs, we need the freedom to do it too. Because that's just what we need. When it comes to Republicans, money and freedom of speech. That's what they're right on. And if we add them all together, you get the life... Oh, God. You get life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's my full-length video on my current plans for the United States in 2032 when I'm old enough to run. So, look for me in 2029 when I officially announce that I'm running in 2032, because I don't know if I'm going to have a big enough following by then to actually have people know who I am. So, keep going. Good luck. You are infinite and unique, and I hope you're talking to one of the future presidents of the United States. Have a good day, and kick some ass.